us. And as I said, if you're just joining us now, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, name, organization, where you're joining us from. So thank you for joining our Tadamon Accelerator information session. This is going to be a regional event focusing specifically on the Arab States region. I'm Svetla Bayeva, and I'm the communications lead with UNDP Europe and Central Asia, and I'm going to be moderating this next 1 hour session. So for today's webinar, our session today is powered by Tadamon, and if you're hearing that for the first time, Tadamon is a cross-regional community platform for civil society empowerment. And as you might want to know, Tadamon is sponsored by ISFD, managed by ISDB, and implemented by UNDP. Here is a link to the website if you want to explore more of the things that we do. So during this Ask Me Anything session, we're going to focus on our newly launched Tadamon Accelerator and our open call for innovative projects and solutions that are addressing public and humanitarian crisis responses and building community resilience in the region. So we're currently recording this session. We'll be sharing the recording with you afterwards. And we're currently also streaming it on Facebook, on Tadamon's Facebook page. So feel free to share or follow us in the meantime. And in the end, we're also going to have a Q&A session, but please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box during the webinar as we go along, so we can try to answer them as we go, as we have our presenters talk about the Tadamon Accelerator. So without further ado, I'd like to first give a word to our partners at ISFD. We're also joined here by ISDB, but I'd like to first give the word to Mohamed Jawbra. He's the Senior Program Management Specialist at ISFD. So thank you. Over to you, Mohamed.
Thank you, Svetla. Thank you. And thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon for everybody. This is Mohamed Jawbra from the Islamic Solidarity Fund for Development. I believe that part of the participants, the CSOs, have previously attended with us and currently registered on the Tadamon community. Maybe part of them are not registered yet. So I'll be giving this background about the ISFD and the context of the program, its relevance to the ISFD mandate, in order to ensure that everybody is aware about this program importance. Basically, the Islamic Solidarity Fund for Development, or what we called it ISFD, I will not be repeating the same name, it's long a little bit. So the ISFD is an endowment fund which was established within the body of the Islamic Development Bank as a special arm, which is mandated for poverty alleviation and supporting different sectors. This is including education, health, economic empowerment, and community development. As you know, when the COVID hit the world in 2020, everything was emerged in terms of supporting the communities, the governments of the countries. So the Islamic Development Bank have announced immediately the Strategic Response and Preparedness Program, which is the SPRP. We called it SPRP. This program for supporting the member countries to respond to the impacts of the COVID-19. And ISFD has contributed to this important program as part of our contribution through different sub-programs and projects, which is contributing to the SPRP. Part of the contribution of the ISFD was the allocation of 232 million for the COVID response. And part of this allocation, which is for the COVID, was this program, which we called it the Tadamon Accelerator, or the ISFD IDB Pandemic Response Accelerator. This program, we are estimating this program to be reaching an amount of 55 million. And so far we have served through this program 12 countries, which was served through direct contracting with international NGOs. and ISFD has contributed for this program specifically about 8 million. And what I would like to clarify here, that this program contains different components, which is including the open call, which we are currently discussing, or that's why we are meeting today. In order to talk about the open call for asking and calling for the CSOs to join the program through their innovative initiatives. So we still have some countries in the pipeline in order to be served from the program, and we have some budget for that countries, in addition to the open call, which we have allocated for it $460,000 in order to support the innovative projects or initiatives that will be provided in the 3 main sectors or thematic areas that was decided: the emergency medical response, the education in emergency, and building the community resilience. These are the main thematic areas that we will be supporting. Of course, there will be some kind of eligibility criteria which will be provided in depth by our colleagues. The countries, suppose, of course, part of the countries that have already endorsed the program of the NGO Empowerment Program, some limitations about the registration and Tadamon membership, as well as experience and language. In addition to having some kind of selection criteria, which also will be going through it by our colleagues. The grant distribution that we are allocating for this program to be distributed or dispersed as prizes for those winning innovations and projects is distributed over 4 categories. The first one contains 3 winners with 40,000 for each. The second one, 3 will get 30,000 for each, and 6 will get 20 for each. And the last category is 13 will be getting 10,000 for each. This is in general the accelerator. I know that I have give some additional information rather than just the opening remarks, but this is just an introduction about how the importance of this program for empowering the response to the COVID impacts and its I will say consequences on different sectors, which is including the education and the community resilience, which could be built through different sectors initiatives, that is including the health, the community development, the economic empowerment, and other initiatives similar to the one that we have previously dealt with through the platform. I will not take additional time because I know that we are today meeting in order to give you the opportunity to hear from our colleagues who will be taking us into a deep dive into the details of the accelerator and give you the opportunity to ask any question about this program, which I hope that our meeting will be interesting and informative, useful for all of us. Thank you, and over to you, Svetla.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, for this great overview of Tadamon and what's behind it. So just a couple of words also from Robert Pasichko. He's the Tadamon program coordinator at UNDP. So over to you, Robert.
Salam alaikum. Hello, all you beautiful people. Good to have you with us today on this webinar. I'm glad to see there is such as enthusiasm and interest for Tadamon Accelerator. So let me also kind of say a few words, and thank you, Mohammed, for having a broad overview. So Tadamon, or NGO Empowerment Program, is something where UNDP together with ISDB, with ISFD, managed to bring over 30 different partners together who have pledged to put over $100 million in Tadamon project, but also Tadamon Accelerator. UNDP is United Nations Development Program, and we are active in 170 countries and territories, which means that we are really closely connected with achieving sustainable development goals, or SDGs, basically anywhere. in order that we achieve these SDGs, it's clear that none of this is able without innovation. That's why we put a lot of efforts on innovation, on finding the best ideas, on finding the most motivated CSOs, and that's why we are happy to work with you. Our intention is to the call to get the most motivated, as I say, and most innovative ideas, and to bring them 50 of them to Tadamon Accelerator, and jointly with you to find a way how to also learn from each other, how to make these approaches working not only for you in your country but also beyond. So far, that's enough from me, and the team will take you now to the different steps of how to apply and what is in for you.
Thank you so much, Robert. And before we go to the core part of our session, I'd like to invite Ismail Mohammed, who's a programmer coordinator at ISDB.
Hi, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ismail Mohammed, and I'm the program coordinator. I was not actually in the mood to say something, but I have to, and I won't be that long. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone here, in particular CSOs, joining us across the Arab member countries for this beautiful webinar to come and join us. In fact, our role here as an ISDB, especially the Resilience and Social Development Department, is to actually do the program oversight and management. And I am a member of the program management unit. So our aim is in fact to ensure that every organization from our member countries, the CSOs, benefit from the decisions we make. And that's why we want to create an environment which in fact allows the capacity building of the CSOs in the member countries, as well as their access to innovative resources or knowledge, skills, expertise, is something that would definitely thrive for the good of everyone who lives and work in the member countries of the OIC. So we work together along with our partners here, UNDP, who is the implementing agency, to make investments in areas that have a real impact on communities, such as education, health, employment, digital and IT, as well as job creation and growth of economy. I hope this is going to be the beginning, not the end, and wish you all the best for a happy, beautiful webinar. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ismail. And now we're going to start with our key speakers. The presentation today will be led by our team at UNDP. This includes Ben Thompson-Kuhn, who's the mapping and outreach expert, UNDP in the Istanbul Regional Hub, and Luis Carval, who's the accelerator lead on the program at UNDP Istanbul Regional Hub. So they're going to give you an overview of the Tadamon Accelerator, what you can expect from the program, and most importantly, how to apply. So remember, you can ask questions in the Q&A box as we present. Don't need to wait for the very end. So over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Svetla, and good morning and good day to everybody. Okay, so we're going to give a quick overview of the Tadamon Accelerator program. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how can you apply, about the website, what do you need to fill in as part of the information required for the application, as well as Tadamon sign up, and then we're going to have a short Q&A at the end. But as Svetla said, as we have so many participants, we would very much like if you can put your questions during the presentation into the Q&A box, and our team will try to answer them as best as possible. And we can also pull up some of the best questions and answer them live later. So what is the Tadamon Accelerator? So I think our previous speakers already went through a few of the details, but basically Tadamon Accelerator is a social impact accelerator program for civil society organizations in OIC member countries. So this includes all the 32 Islamic Cooperation member countries that have officially endorsed the program. And of course, Tadamon is part of the ISDB, ISFD NGO Empowerment for Poverty Reduction program that some of you might already be familiar with. The Accelerator is specifically a response to all the lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to drive social impact in OIC member countries, and we also want to build the capacity of civil society organizations, offer you new skills, elevate your organizations to a new level, and also look at some of the solutions that you are already working with and how we can make them better and scale them up. The Accelerator as such is built around three thematic challenges or thematic areas. So the first one is emergency medical response. The second one is education in emergency. And the third one is building community resilience. We'll go through all of these. But I just want to say that the innovations that we are looking for should center on new and innovative technologies, deliver relevant solutions, and also take into account current trends of digitalization, new digital services, and also kind of recognize the challenges of climate change, infrastructure, access to energy, and also green recovery. So these we are looking for. And as you can see here in the first thematic area, in emergency medical response, we're talking about issues such as accelerating access to healthcare, improving health outcomes, monitoring and surveillance. So a lot of these already touch upon the topics that I just mentioned, such as innovative technologies and digital services. So the second thematic area, as I said, is education in emergency. So in here, we also have the innovative tech aspect. And also we want to focus a little bit on climate change and energy access. And here we have also examples like gamification, digital education, digital participation. But please keep in mind that these we provide as examples. So just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of innovations and solutions we are looking for. And then for the third thematic area, so building community resilience, as you can see here, we want to focus a little bit stronger on climate change and green recovery, but still keeping in mind all those lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic and thinking about how communities can kind of build up their resilience towards future crises, pandemic, and challenges. And also here focusing quite heavily on technologies, digitalization, and digital services, such as in digital economy, digital neighborhoods, innovative community support, connected and autonomous infrastructure, just to name a few. So a few words about the eligibility criteria, because this is an area where we get quite a lot of questions. So as I said, we have 32 countries from which civil society organizations can apply. You can see them here on the screen. I won't go through them all. We also have them on our website if you want to check them. But for the criteria, I think the most important one is that all organizations that want to apply do have to have membership on our Tadamon platform. So I think my colleagues have already posted a link in the chat. So the Tadamon platform is an online platform where we host all our activities. And for you to be able to apply to one of these activities, which the Accelerator is one of, you have to first sign up to become a member. Second of all, you have to be registered within your country of operation. So this means that you have to have registration documents that you will have to submit to us, and you have to be registered with the relevant authorities in your country. We also require for this program an experience of minimum 2 years from each organization. So you have to be able to demonstrate that you actually have programs that you have implemented in the past successfully. As Svetla already said in the beginning, the Tadamon Accelerator will be exclusively in English because it's a global initiative, and we have partners and trainers from all around the world. For you to be able to successfully take part and engage with the other organizations, as well as our trainers and mentors, we will have to have one common language in here. And for this accelerator, it will be in English. And also, of course, when you submit your application, you have to propose a solution or innovation, and it has to address at least one of the 3 thematic areas that we just went through. For the selection criteria, we are looking at project feasibility. We are looking at innovation novelty. We are looking at management. So this is your organizational capacity. So if you have a strong team, we are looking at scalability. So we are very much interested in innovations and solutions that we can see that can be also brought to other communities, maybe scaled from local to national or from national to international. We will be looking at also your established partnerships. So we are very much interested in having organizations that already kind of work with other organizations in the country or in their communities, maybe have a partnership with the private sector or the public sector. And of course, we are looking at sustainable development indicators and the potential for impact from your proposals. So we are very much looking at those proposals that affect a large number of people or have a larger impact on the environment. Okay, I'm going to give the microphone to my colleague Louise. Louise is the leader of our accelerator, so she's going to go over the program, and then I'll come back to you with the sign-up process. Over to you, Louise.
Thank you, Ben, and good morning, good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. As mentioned, my name is Louise, and I'm working as the accelerator lead for this program. And what that means is that I'm responsible for the design and implementation of all the activities that the selected organizations will go through. And so today I will present an overview of what we have or are planning right now. But I just want to highlight that we really look to learn from you, all the organizations that are out there implementing activities on a daily basis. We learn from you, and with the input we receive from you, we tailor and adjust the program to make it as good and usable for you as possible. Maybe next slide. So the program, it's a 14-week online program. So all of the sessions will be delivered over Zoom. And the core of the program is really impact and organizational or project development. So what we're trying to really focus on during the 14 weeks that we have together is the programs and the projects that you are applying with. But in addition to that, we're also trying to build capabilities and skills on how to manage a project and how to really make your organization work effectively. So the first module is something that we implement together with Startup Grind. It's the world's largest network for entrepreneurship. But what they're really good at is understanding what you're doing and how you can make it more effective and scale it. So we start by designing a business plan for you, or work with you to design this business plan. And then week by week, you will be introduced to a number of, let's say, sessions where you will be able to focus on the finance of your project, the marketing, the social media outreach, a number of different activities. We also have impact, which of course is core to what all of you are doing. So we're really trying to help you understand what impact you want to have, what your theory of change is. In other words, how will you have this? What would you need to do to have this impact on the ground? And how will you measure and manage it? We also obviously look at tech and digital transformation. This is really core of the program. So here you will learn about digital principles. What should you think about when you design your project or scale your project? What are current trends that you could learn from to really be more effective? And we work with you to try to make this core to your strategy. We also work on behavioral insights. So this is a module that's very important for civil society organization working with target groups on the ground. It's about understanding their behavior, what's driving factors for them, what could be barriers that stop or block your beneficiaries or your target groups from engaging or doing certain things that you want them to engage in. So here we also work with external partners to really bring you the best knowledge and experience in this field. Another important aspect of the program, the 5th core module, is crowdfunding. And some of you might already know about it. It's delivered by UNDP's Crowdfunding Academy. And they are experts in designing and launching crowdfunding campaigns. And this, of course, is an opportunity for you to try to receive funding beyond the normal traditional grants. So here you will design your campaign and launch it and hopefully receive funding and other type of support from the communities that you work with, or even globally. In addition to this, we have something that we call boosters. And these are basically additionals that can really help you accelerate and scale your innovation or project. So at the get-go of the program, we do something called sense making. And it's exactly what the word entails. You try to make sense of what's happening around you or what's happening in the group of organizations that are selected for the program. So we meet with you and we try to really distill like what's happening here, what are some of the challenges that you all have in common, or what are solutions or methods that you are applying that we could really scale or do more of. So this is really core to our methodology to make us design and deliver the best program. We also have Tadamon talks. Maybe some of you have participated in them before. Here we invite interesting speakers to come and speak about specific topics. It can also be informative sessions where you learn about something and you get to ask questions. As mentioned by Ben, we also have mentorship sessions. So these sessions really focus on your individual needs, and we match you with experts from all around the world to sit with you and provide targeted support. And we do this both in one-on-one, and we also have, let's say, group sessions where multiple organizations come together with experts. Obviously, we also focus a lot on peer-to-peer learning. That's why we have this global call and why we really want to have one language that unites all of us. So there are lots of organizations, I'm sure, on this call today who have experience that could benefit others. And what we're trying to do is to really identify those organizations that could work together and facilitate that collaboration and sharing of experiences. So this is, again, something that's core to the program. Once you're also done with the program, you would have the opportunity to join our alumni network, because UNDP is running other accelerator programs, both globally and a local level, but also regionally. And we believe that by connecting you to the alumni network, you will have access to new funding opportunities beyond the Tadamon platform. And you can meet other organizations in a similar context or working in a similar field as you. So this is really something we're working on right now to really further develop and make stronger. And before we go to the next slide, I just want to say we will implement about 2 to 3 sessions per week. Every session normally lasts between 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So it's an intense program. And for that reason, we really encourage organizations to at least nominate 2 to 3 staff members who can actively engage, because this program requires quite a lot of time commitment. We say between 5 to 8 hours per week. So it's important that you are aware of this when you submit your application. Otherwise, it will be hard to really benefit from all the content that we will be offering. Next slide, please. So I already touched upon this shortly, and I will not go into detail, but some key workshops that I think could be interesting for you is what I present here. So we start off also by looking at design thinking. So to really get you thinking around who are your target groups? Who are you working with? What's the context where you are operating? And how can that influence the design of our project or your outreach campaign? So design thinking is really something that's, again, core to our methodology. You will work on your value proposition. You will do some prototyping or testing or further advancing your innovation that you enter the program with. We will also work on project management. Maybe some of you are experts, but we will try to also help you improve the way that your organization is organized and implements activities. Again, obviously, we will work on impact. So how do you monitor this? How do you measure it? How do you report on it? We will have a lot of focus on your brand and your, let's say, your identity or narrative as an organization. So this includes everything from branding to how you tell your story. And this is also interlinked with the behavioral insights module, which I explained before. Another important area is alternative finance. And we have an expert team with UNDP who will be working with you on this as well to introduce some new areas or new ways of scaling your innovation without having to rely on grants. Yeah, I think for now, that's all I need to tell you about key workshops. Maybe next slide. I think it's about, yeah, maybe this one, actually, it's an important one. What is it in it for you? There are lots of really interesting aspects to keep in mind when you apply. First of all, you will obviously get access to our pool of mentors and our pool of also implementing partners. So these are top-notch change makers from all around the world who we will bring in to give you tailored and personalized advice and support. It's fully online, which means that you can continue doing your day-to-day activities without having to travel. You can access as long as you have internet connection, and everything will be available for at least a year online. So all the recordings, the materials will stay and be accessible later on. There are obviously financing opportunities, and I know that Ben will cover this more soon, but yeah, there are opportunities for those organizations that have the greatest potential to scale up their innovations. You will compete for up to 40,000 equity-free capital. So this is a huge opportunity, of course. And you're all working in countries where UNDP is present. So you will also have access to our network and be it technical input, be it supports through the ecosystems that we have developed on ground. We will do our best to plug you into our global network. Over to you, Ben. Oh, actually, maybe I'll cover this too. Sorry, guys. So I already mentioned it very quickly. We have, with thanks to our generous donors, we have $460,000 in grants. So this is a lot of money. Obviously, not one single organization will receive this. In fact, we're looking to grant 25 organizations out of 50 organizations some type of grant. So they range from 40,000, which is the maximum amount, to $10,000. And what's important is that you have the capacity to really implement these grants within a shorter period of time, so less than a year. So it's really up to you as well to come prepared. This is why we ask that organizations have at least 2 years of previous experience. But obviously, during the program, you will also have the opportunity to advance your capabilities and work on your skills and perhaps identify needs in terms of people or other assets that you need to really implement your innovation. Next slide, please. So in terms of the timeline, we are now in the middle of the application process. So you have until 10th of June to apply. And Ben will explain in detail what this looks like. So I will not dwell on it too much. But my recommendation would be that you go in as soon as possible. There's a lot of information that we would like you to submit. So obviously, the sooner you start working on this, the easier and it will be for you to meet the deadline, which is the 10th of June. The program will start probably end of August or beginning of September. We will announce the winners in August and give you all the information to make sure that you have a smooth start of the program. The program itself, as I mentioned, will run for 14 weeks from September till November. And then we'll have a graduation event in December. So here's the opportunity for you to pitch your solution to a jury. And those organizations, we believe, have the greatest capacity to scale an innovation that is aligned with one of these three thematic areas. They will have access to, or will be granted financial support to then scale up their innovation. And then after the program, of course, you will have access to additional support, maybe some mentorship support, access to our alumni network, things like this. Next slide, please. Over to you, Ben.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll talk a little bit about how to apply. We'll go quickly through both applying to Tadamon.community and also filling up the Accelerator application form. And then we will go to their questions. I think our team has done a great job in answering some of the questions already in the Q&A box, but I think there are some very good questions and some are about also the application. So as Luis already said, the application deadline is by June 10th. So I think June 10th is this week's Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So you still have enough time to fill in your applications and also sign up to Tadamon.community. So the first step is you should go to Tadamon.community and fill in our sign-up form. It's a process that takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes. It's very easy, and you also only have to add some basic information about your organization, where you are from, what you work with, and also, one important thing is please be prepared to upload your registration documents. So this is the stage that you have to actually prove that your organization is registered within your country. And we won't accept any signups if you don't include that registration document. So you can upload it into the registration form as a PDF. So just make sure that you have that at hand before you start signing up. After you have signed up, it might take a day or a few hours for your application or your sign up to be approved. But please be aware that even if your sign up hasn't been approved, you can already apply to the accelerator. So you might have a status on your profile which says pending approval or pre-approved. Don't let this confuse you. We only give the approved status to organizations that we have verified. And this is a longer process that might take, from a few weeks to a month. So as soon as you have your organization profile on our website and you are able to log into it, so you create a username and a password, you can find the Accelerator application on your profile dashboard. So just because we get quite a lot of questions regarding this approval status. So your organization does not have to be approved to the Tadamon platform for you to be able to apply. You have to be approved to be able to participate, this I will say, but it's a bit of a longer process. So we will verify and approve all organizations before the program starts. Then for the Accelerator application form, as I said, once you go to your organization dashboard on tadamon.community, you can find the application form. Here, I will say that for some countries, depending from which country you're coming from, there might be more than one activity to apply to. So as you can see on the screen, we have a mock-up organization. And the dashboard looks a bit like this. And you can see that here we have an application form for a crowdfunding academy and for the Tadamon Accelerator. So if you are only applying to the Tadamon Accelerator, make sure you fill in the right application form. For some countries, you will only see the Tadamon Accelerator if we are not implementing any other programs here. For the Accelerator application form, we have a feature where you can save the application and you can go back and fill it later. So the application form for the Tadamon Accelerator is a bit longer. You will have to, provide a detailed description about the problem that you are addressing, about the solution that you are providing. We want to know a little bit of information about your team, your organization, and there are a few documents that you will also have to upload. So just to let you know that it's okay to kind of take a break, you can save the application and you can go back then and fill once you have required that information that you are missing. I think we can stop here. Maybe we can go into more details about the application form if we have questions about it. I see we already have quite a lot of applications on the website. So at least some of you have been able to fill the form successfully. So just to reiterate that the call for applications closes on the 10th of June. So please, everybody, go to our website, sign up and apply. All right, I think it's time for Q&A. So I will give the microphone back to our moderator, Svetla. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. So we've had a lot of questions streaming in the chat, but also in the Q&A box. We've been answering them as we're going along. But I think there are a couple of questions that have been recurring, and it would be good to bring them up now in the open session and even repeat them. Specifically, there's one around organizational criteria. So there's been a question about, does an organization have to be registered for in the last 2 years, have basically 2 years since its registration? Is this a hard requirement? Is there any way to address, for example, organizations that have been registered in the last year, but have maybe 3 years of experience? And it would be great to follow up on any other organizational requirements that are important for the organizations here today to know.
Okay, I can maybe take this question. I know this is maybe a kind of one of the most difficult criteria because some of the countries that we have on the list for the accelerator, I know the registration process is on a yearly basis. So for some countries, for instance, the registration documents are renewed each year and they are only valid for 1 year, or there are some other processes. So it might be difficult to demonstrate that you have been registered for 2 years. We have designed the application form in a way that you will have to, of course, upload your registration document, but we have then also a question where we are asking about past projects that you have implemented within the next 2 years. So if you can prove throughout implemented projects, your registration documents, or we also have a section where you can upload additional information. So if you have any supporting documents, you can put them all into the application form. And then with the more kind of difficult cases, we can look at them at a case-by-case basis. But basically, yes, we do have a requirement for organizations to have at least 2 years of experience. So maybe that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So there's another question regarding, this has been a recurring question regarding registration in the country of operation. If an organization doesn't have such an registration, can they partner with a local civil society organization on implementing a solution there?
Yes, definitely. So if you have this is why we also talked about these partnership networks, that we are looking at organizations that have it's not the requirement that you do have a partner, but if you have a network of partners, it's always a bonus. So the organization that submits the application has to be the one that is registered within that specific country. So if you have an organization and you are implementing a project with the local partner, then it should be that local partner who applies to the accelerator. But if you do have a coalition of civil society organizations or organizations, so you have a national organization that is partnering with an international organization, that is completely okay. I mean, we are also looking at the organization. You might have a company, a private sector company that you are partnering with to deliver a solution that is completely acceptable. But it's just that the organization that has that registration within that specific country has to be the organization that submits the application.
And if I can just add to this, thank you, Ben, for this clear answer. The organizations that are entering the program will not necessarily be implementing their solution during the program. The program is about capacity development, about improving, strengthening the project that you are, you might already be working on its implementation, but the grant is something that you will receive following the implementation of our program. So you enter, you will go through extensive training, capacity development, and then you will apply for the grant. So for an external partner, they might actually not be the one participating in the program with you. If this is the case and you would like to participate together, this would be, let's say, a special case, and you can argue for it in your application. But we are really trying to support those civil society organizations who are registered in the 32 OIC members countries.
Thanks, Louise. There's also been some questions around the thematic areas and whether you can apply for more than one. So what our recommendation has been, your solution or project can address more than one, but in the application form, you should choose the one that fits your project the best. So you have to choose one in the end. Ben, Louise, feel free to jump in if there's anything else you want to add here.
Just to add, sorry, Ben.
Right. Go ahead, Louise. You first.
I cannot see you. No, and I think it's important for the organizations here also to know that we are looking for advanced innovations, meaning it's not an idea, right? It's something you've been working on for a while, and you need that extra push, that extra support to take it to the next level. But through the process that you go through in the Tadamon Accelerator program, you might actually pivot, and you might think that you're working on a solution. And then with the insights that you gain or the new expertise and tools that we provide you with, you might pivot into a new area. And that is fine. So whatever you apply with is not set in stone. You might tweak your innovation, and it might actually be that when you submit your application for the grant, in the end, you have a slightly different innovation than what you had submitted your application with now in June 10th.
Ben, do you want to add something?
I think Louise gave a perfect answer.
All right. And just like a couple of additional things that I wanted to repeat. The program language will be in English. That's the reason why we're having this session in English. Also, the application form is going to be in English. You will be able to receive this recording at the end of this session. So we'll be sending out to all of you along with the presentation. So you'll be able to look watch the recording once again and regarding the questions that we've answered so far. I think those were the main questions. If there's any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A box so that we can use the last 5 minutes to discuss any pending hot questions that you have. So there's one question talking about whether disability inclusive development issues will be considered. Yes, your solution innovation could be inclusive of disability issues as long as it fits one of the 3 thematic areas, but they're quite wide, so you can see which one is the best fit for your solution that you're working on.
Yes, and regarding these 3 areas, these 3 thematic areas, I just wanted to highlight again that what we put into this presentation were ideas or examples. It's really, we don't have all the answers. This is also why we're working with you. You are the ones who are on the ground, who knows how to best address emergency healthcare or education or building resilience. So we want to hear from you. We want to see what you're working on. And as long as you can argue and provide a rationale for why it fits with the criteria, we will take it into consideration. So don't limit yourself to what we have outlined here. This is our thinking, but we're not in your countries. We're not there knowing exactly what's needed. So submit if you have an argument or you have a solution that you think could fit. And yeah, go in and apply.
Thanks, Louise. Yeah, I think there's some more questions streaming in.
I saw some questions about whether this is the first time or whether the grants have been awarded before. I just want to highlight, so the Tadamon Accelerator, we're running it for the first time, but it's actually building on extensive experience from UNDP. So we have not the same program, but we have learned from the other accelerator programs that UNDP has implemented in the past. So we believe that we have a very good procedure in place to make sure that the learning journey is suitable and let's say beneficial to organizations. And Tadamon has provided grants in the past. So this is also something we have experience in.
Thank you, Louise. We have a question. We can take it as the last one, as it is a comprehensive question around the selection criteria, specifically of the grant. But I think we can discuss the selection criteria for joining the accelerator, because that's the first step, and you will need to take part in the accelerator program then to be able to access funding opportunities. So only 50 organizations are going to join the accelerator, and then only 25 of those will be able to access grant opportunities. But it would be great if Ben, Louise, you can discuss the selection criteria.
Was there any specifics regarding it, or
what is the selection criteria of the grant? What?
The grant. I can cover that actually. Yeah. So the grant selection criteria is actually the same selection criteria that we look at when you submit your application. So the idea is that we already at this point in time will look at your particular organization innovation to decide whether it's feasible. So is it implementable basically? Is it innovative? Do you have a team that's strong enough to actually implement the project that you are submitting? can it be scaled? And right now we're primarily looking at national level, so maybe in a different region or to a new target group. But of course, over time, you would ideally look at scalability even beyond your respective countries or territories. Do you have these partnerships, and do you have high impact potential? The idea is that you go through the program and you advance in all of these areas. We help you become more feasible. Maybe we're not making you more innovative, but maybe your innovation is more tailored or a better fit for the context where you are. So we're basically boosting all of these areas through the program, and then you will pitch this to a jury again. And again, you will be evaluated on these criteria. But what's unique to this program as well is that we look at the development or the growth that you achieve through the program. So it's not just, are you the best organization for this grant? No, we're looking at where did you start and where are you now? And that's really the essence of doing an accelerator program rather than just providing a grant. We want to really equip you with the opportunity to learn and improve. And then once you are ready, we will grant you the money for this grant to implement. And the implementation could be further scaling or piloting your innovation, or it could be a proper implementation of a normal project. So it's really something that's we assess on a case-by-case basis. But the selection criteria is the same at the entrance of the program as well as the end pitching to the jury.
Thanks, Louise. So there's been some questions in the chat regarding the application deadline. The deadline is June 10th. We know that that's in a week, but we have a pretty simplified application form, and we think that you'll be able to manage applying, especially if you have an idea, like a project solution that you're already working on. Within the application form, of course, that's where you're going to add your proposal, but we also have a budget template that you can download. That's the question that was now in the chat from Ayman. And there's a question regarding, as I understand it, whether we want to see like the organizational team structure, and whether it's required to show like the positions of the applying NGO. I think it's good to see that you have a team in place, especially around the implementation of your project, your innovation. It's important to see who's going to be working on it. This is important for the evaluating jury to see whether you have the capability in place to implement this project or a solution. Well, I think those were the main questions. And I think we can wrap up this session. We'll be looking forward to your applications. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our page, the Accelerator page. We have you can reach out to our UNDP team if you have any further questions, especially once you've registered on the Tadamon platform and have started up your application. You may have further questions, so feel free to get in touch with us. We'll be sending this recording, as mentioned before, along with the presentation. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And we're really looking forward to reading about the very interesting things that you're doing on the ground.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Luis, Ben. Yes, thank you, Ismail.
Bye-bye.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, see you later.